I'm a big enough girl and like old enough and wise enough to know that everyone has their person, and if I'm not your person, just be honest about that. Just because guys will often say, oh, I'm not looking for anything right now, and then a month later they'll be with somebody, and then that's like, ouch. But I would rather them just sat down and said to me, I really like you, but I think this is just friends. I'd rather them be honest about that than to make me feel like it's because they're not ready.
Sure. Okay. I completely hear you. So I want to break that exact kind of situation down a little bit. So the first thing, when you said about when, and then we'll come back to you describing your archetype because we haven't got to that yet. So when you said about a guy will get you to a place where he emotionally has you, then he pulls away. Mm-hmm. I completely get how it looks like that, but more often than not, it's not that he gets you to a place emotionally where you want him, then he pulls away. It's usually he gets you to a place sexually and then he pulls away. But there's a correlation with that because a lot of the time, most women generally won't be physically intimate with a guy unless there's a level of emotional rapport there. Mm-hmm. Right. And then especially if you like the guy as a person, you've built that emotional rapport, you have sex and you be physical and you really enjoy it. Naturally, there's deeper emotional connection happening a lot of the time through that experience. And for a lot of guys, if they're not looking for anything serious, a lot of the times it's when you start having regular sex, when you start having sex, he's like, okay, that's somewhere that he can go to get physical intimacy. So then he stops reinvesting if he's only looking for something casual. So a lot of the time it's not that, oh, okay, well, now I know she's in love with me, so now I'm just going to distance myself. A lot of the time, like, I honestly don't think guys don't think with that level of emotional intelligence. It's literally like, oh, okay, well, we started having sex. I know she's open to having sex and stuff. And if he's not looking for anything serious, it's kind of like, okay, well, he was looking for that situation where you both are having physical intimacy, and because he's got to that point, you guys have got to that point, he then stops investing as much as before. Does that make sense? Obviously that doesn't make it okay, but what I'm trying to say is the reason I'm sharing with you this side is because I want to try and show you this is how a lot of guys think. Mm-hmm. And I think the emotional aspect, which I completely get, is a lot of times how is from the feminine perspective. But the physical aspect a lot of time is from the masculine perspective. So guys, it's like once a guy has started having sex, then he's like, if that's all he was looking for, then he stops investing. So he stops texting you all the time. He stops taking you out, etc. And then especially with the whole thing of like, you kind of hear from him intermittently, like you see each other one weekend and then you don't hear from him for a week or 2 weeks. And then he's blown up your phone. He's like, hey, I want to see you. Are you free tomorrow? And you're like, I get it, because for you, like, oh, there's been this gap and I've not had this emotional investment from you. I've not had this time from you and I want that. And now you're giving it to me and I want to hold on to that. I want to latch on to that. And a lot of the times it's not, when I say guys aren't doing it on purpose, the emotionality isn't the on purpose, because the emotionality aspect is like, okay, well, now you're starting to, when he does give it to you, like, I want to take advantage of that. So if he wants to see me tonight, I know I was meant to be doing this, but now I'm going to prioritize him because I haven't seen him for 2 weeks. Yeah. Do you see what I'm saying? But a lot of times, like, I promise you guys are simpler than you think. Okay. Do you know what I mean? Like I said, that doesn't make it okay. But the reason it's really important to understand that side is because then you can recognize the right signs if it's going to be that. Does that make sense? And then,
but I do feel like that guys make out. I'm saying it like I'm villainizing you all, but no, I do feel like guys say, oh, I want this and I want that, but they don't say that they just want something sexually, and then it's only after like that's happened and the emotional attachments there that they're then like, oh, I'm not looking for anything, and it's like, but you were.
Some guys lie for sure.
Yeah, but then I can understand if that's just because I'm not for them, and then that's where I just want the honesty to come in. Like, do you know what? I've had a great time with you, but I think we should just keep this on a friends level, or whatever. Maybe not even a friend level. Maybe if I'm too emotionally attached, that's probably not good for me. But I would just rather the honesty of like, but they don't want to do that because they want to keep me around for one reason.
So you know why they don't do that? You already know. You don't need me to tell you. You already know why they don't do that. That's exactly why they don't do that. Because they go, oh, it's been really great, but I think we should just be friends. You're going to be like, cool, well, like, we're not spending the night together, duh. And he's like, well, I'm attracted to you, so I don't want to lose that. But
then why can't they be strong enough to be like, do you know what? I'm gonna leave this girl in peace. She's been through enough already. Like, I'm just gonna like, because I won't ask for it.
Ask for what?
Sex. Like if they've made it clear to me that all they want is that.
Yep.
Then like I'm like, okay, cool. There's no like, I don't want to just keep doing that.
Yeah, of course. Rightfully
so. They're the ones who always come back to me and say like, oh, they're like, oh, what are you doing tonight? Or oh, I want to see you. But then obviously because I am emotionally attached, I'll say yes and I'll go and I'll see them.
Even if you know that they only want that one thing?
Yeah, it's my fault.
Well, this is one of those times, Amelia, where we have to be our own parent.
I think there is kind of that, I guess with some guys, like I've thought like, oh, maybe they'll want me if I spend more time with them and they'll see how.
Right. And this is a trap that many women fall into. They think now I agree, if a guy's just looking for physical play, something very chill and casual, he should communicate that with you, right? He should. And if he doesn't, if he actively deceives you, that's wrong on his part. He's shit for doing that, 100%. But if he does say, look, I enjoy spending time with you, but I'm not looking for anything serious. And you're like, okay, I know he says that, but if I spend more time with him, maybe I can change his mind. While I understand that, that's you not taking no for an answer. It's exactly the same. Imagine if you're out at the bar with your friend Shan, who's in the room, right? And a guy approaches you and you take a look at him. He looks okay, but he's not really your cup of tea. And you go, thanks for approaching me, but I'm just not interested. And he goes, nah, I can change her mind. If I spend more time with her, if I show her more of who I am, I'll change her mind. That's him not taking no for an answer.
It's kind of pesty.
And then on top of that, and I'm saying this from a place of love, but I'm saying it because I want you to understand how it is for a guy. When a guy approaches you and you say no, and he's like, nah, I'm going to see if I can change her mind. He continues coming after you, trying to change your mind. Does that make you respect him more or less?
Less.
So when a guy's being physically intimate with a woman and she wants a relationship and he says, hey, I don't want a relationship, but she continues to have sex with him in hopes of changing his mind, is that going to make him respect her more or less?
Less.
And it's not respect her less as a human being, but respect her less for a committed partner, because the kind of woman a man wants to choose that they never admit, they want to choose the woman who goes, I respect, that's what you're looking for. In that case, I'm not going to be indulging in this further.
Yeah.
If I'm going to be sharing myself with you, if I'm going to be physically intimate with you, if I'm going to be investing myself and my energy into you, I'm looking for that level of reciprocation. And if you're not willing to give me that, that's absolutely fine, but I wish you the best. Because then what happens, and this has happened with a few of my clients when I've coached them to do this, when he's ready for a relationship, he'll come back.
Yeah.
And he'll be like, because I know that Amelia is the relationship kind of woman. I know she's not just going to be sleeping with someone. Like, I know for that she liked me so much and she still said no to me and she likes me. So I know for a fact that she ain't going to be doing this with some other guy.
Yeah.
Do you see what I'm saying? And so I completely get how, and it can be so difficult when you really like someone and it's almost like them dangling a carrot in front of you when they give you this level of attention and affection, and you want to hold on to it 100%. But that's when we have to be our own parent.
Yeah. And
you're a mother, so you already get it. There'll be times where your kids want something and you say no because it's for their own good.
Yeah.
And you just need to do that for you. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah. No, I do. I do feel like I've more recently been a lot stronger in the sense of like, well, I mean, I've kind of taken myself completely out of dating for now because I just don't, I'm not ready to get my heart broken again. Like I'm Yeah.
I don't think anyone's ready for their heartbroken. No one's ready for that. It's a risk.
I feel like I invest a lot of. Okay, this is a good one.
Yeah.
I feel like guys don't actually care about getting to know. I'm not going to say all women, but this is my experience.
Yeah.
When I start talking to a guy, they very rarely ask me questions about me. Like I obviously ask them because when you're like interested in somebody that you think you could potentially start dating or whatever, like you want to get to know a bit about them. I feel like guys don't really ask me much about me. They just want to talk about themselves. And
I get that. You're probably not wrong if a guy's trying to
pursue me in a certain
impress
way.
You. Because you might think, oh, okay, well, she looks like this, so she probably is impressed by this kind of guy. So I want to demonstrate that I'm that kind of guy. Right. So that might be it. But you're an attractive woman. I know for sure that there are guys who actually want to know who you are. You just don't give them a chance. The guys that you give a chance are the ones that you're like, they don't want to get to know who I am. But 100% there'll be many guys who are like, I actually want to get to know who she is. But maybe because he's not as attractive as maybe what you're used to, or maybe because he doesn't earn a certain amount or whatever, for whatever reason, maybe you don't choose him. So that's why I want to go back to, what's your typical archetype of guy? What's the typical guy that you choose?
Oh yeah, I kind of avoided that, didn't I?
Yeah. I brought her back, guys. She tried to escape, but I said no.
So I actually get asked this question a lot on live when I'm on TikTok. And
of course, you know why
people
are
like, oh, what's your type? What's your type? But I think like physically, I don't think I have a type.
Okay.
But personality wise, like I look for somebody who can make me laugh. That's a huge thing for me. Like I love a good sense of humor. So I like have to, I don't know. Like there was this one guy that I was dating last year, and he was so lovely, and he treated me in all the ways that I should be treated, and but there was just that lack of humor which really put me off. And that's
interesting.
Yeah, like I didn't have fun, and that to me was.
Did you like spending time with him?
I liked spending time with him. It was nice. I just felt like I need somebody who's a bit more like fun and outgoing, and yeah.
Would you say that like previous guys that you dated, and you know, you're saying that they often don't give you that treatment and stuff. Would you say those guys were kind of toxic?
Oh, 100%.
Okay. So when we're used to toxicity, healthy feels boring.
Yes.
Because now here's the thing. When we say someone is toxic, we're in a toxic relationship, that doesn't mean that every aspect of the relationship is bad. Because if every aspect of the relationship is bad, we wouldn't stay. But what it is that maybe it's not healthy, but there are elements of the relationship that are electric.
Yeah.
It's like, and that's why we stay. It's like, okay,
yeah,
you kind of semi-gaslight me, but we have so much fun and the chemistry is insane. So I'm going to stay.
Yeah.
So a lot of the time when you get someone where that stuff, it's not toxic, it's healthy, right? But it doesn't have this. A lot of the time, a toxic relationship situation is like a roller coaster. You have highs and it's so high.
Yeah.
You feel great. You're like, I'm with this person, we're having a great time. This is the thing. And then when it's the toxicness, you're low, you go down. And you're like, this is really bad. Like, I don't know why.
I feel like my pattern with men, obviously I've been single for 3.5 years now. So like there's been two guys in particular that I did really fall for, and my pattern with both of them was that they would just pick me up and put me down. So it was like I was constantly chasing that high.
Yes.
And then I would feel, but they would have me so low. But as soon as they came back round and wanted to give me what I wanted again, I was like, oh my gosh, yes, like chasing that high. But I didn't realise I was doing it. But it's only now I'm out of it that I realised that it wasn't, I don't even think that I liked them the way I thought I liked them either. I think it was all kind of I think delusional might be. Maybe I was a bit delusional. Maybe I made it up in my head of what I thought it could be, because
you fell in love with the idea.
The idea, that's it.
Yeah,
be. I fell in love with the idea, not actually in love with them.
Yeah, and you described it perfectly. It's like an addict. When they give you that time, attention, validation, it's like a hit. It's a high, and then when they don't, you're like crashing.
Yeah.
And you feel like you're having withdrawals. And what the addicts do, they're like, I need my next high. I need my next hit.
Yeah.
Now, overall, the actual addiction itself is very unhealthy for the person. But compared to the person who is an addict, maybe eats clean, works out clean, everything like that, right? They're a much healthier person, but they don't have highs and lows. And because of the highs, it's kind of like when you're with someone who wants to give you the level of treatment that you deserve, that you're looking for, it's meant to feel like that. It's not meant to feel like that, because the lows is what makes the highs hit so hard. But when you're just doing that, you barely feel yourself going up. But that's how the best relationships are created, because what happens is people just doing that, it's like, okay, we're progressing, etc. And they keep doing that, and then just get to a point where they're so high, they're like, I didn't realize we were here. And that's the most amazing part, because you're like, I've got this healthy relationship. I've just realized how amazing the thing that I have is.
Yeah.
And a lot of the time it's almost like a discovery. Like you discover that relationship that you've built with this person. Do you know what I mean? It's like building a wall. You're just putting a brick on one at a time, right? And you're just enjoying it. And at some point you just look at it like, how did we build this wall of China?
I feel like that's your situation.
Hey, maybe we should get her on. Maybe get Shard on.
You've gone through like a nice slow progress, haven't you?
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Whereas like the toxic is, we build a brick and he like destroys it. He's like, fuck. And he's like, okay, babe, let's build. You're like, yeah, we're building this brick. We're building this wall together. And then he like crashes it again. You're like, ah. Then you're building again. Do you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And so that cycle can be very addictive for our dopamine. Do you know what I mean? And I think a lot of time that's why you chase. So when you say you met a guy last year and he was giving you the right treatment, he treated you pleasantly, lovely and everything, and you're like, yeah, I just wasn't feeling it. Yeah, that's how it's going to feel.
Yeah. That's
how it's going to feel. Sometimes people in relationships and they'll be like, oh, I'm bored. I'm like, that means you're in a great relationship. Because you're bored. Like if the worst thing about your relationship is you're bored, you're in a great relationship. Because there are people out here who are cheating. There are people out here who have had kids with somebody else. There are people out here in abusive relationships, like real shit.
When I say that it's taken me like a long time to heal, and then throughout that process, there have been a couple of guys that have kind of, I haven't been able to heal properly because I've fallen back into those same patterns.
Yeah.
Hope you really enjoyed that clip. If you want to watch the full episode where that clip is from, then I want you to click right here where you can watch the full episode. And if you're ready to claim your man today, enroll in my program below, and I'll see you there. Wishing you an amazing day.